G'day guys and gal. The Elder can be pretty weird sometimes, whether it be the evil ones that graft pieces of tyranids to themselves or the clown ones that laugh as they plunge headfirst into hell. But easily some of the weirdest are the warp spiders, warriors who teleport into the warp and then quickly teleport out behind you like some kind of edgy jitsu. Who the hell came up with that idea? Well, we know who, as the warp spiders also had their Phoenix Lord unveiled, Lykhis, the newest kid on the block. So with a new Phoenix Lord, as well as a very strange type of aspect warrior, it's time to make a video. Before we get started, GW has finally done us Elder fans a solid, giving us two massive range refreshes in recent times. Almost all the old shit-looking Phoenix Lords that aren't even in production anymore have been updated into stunning plastic, other than Karandras, and for the most part, GW slayed it. They cooked and they delivered. Yum yum. Not only that, but almost all aspect warriors have also been updated, so now owning Elder isn't embarrassing anymore. But what does this actually mean? It means that a number of major minis have now become obsolete. The Space Elf Avenging Lord, Fire Lord, Hawk Lord, and Spider Lord are no longer needed. They were made to fill a glaring gap. However, that gap is now filled. So in 72 hours, these four models will be taken down from the major mini store permanently. As such, we're running a 15% off clearance sale or 25% off if you buy all four in one bundle. There is no STLs of these guys, there is no reseller. After this 72 hours, they are gone for good. Maybe you prefer the major mini style. After all, we definitely went in a unique direction for the Fire Lord. Maybe you think they'd make great Exarch proxies, or maybe you just want a model that is about to disappear forever. Either way, this is your last chance. You like him, it's now or never. The Space Elf Death Lord will stay on the website as I prefer it over GW's, with the Scorpion Lord also staying up, as well as the other Space Elf models. But yeah, last chance to grab the Fire Lord, Hawk Lord, Avenger Lord, or Spider Lord before they're gonzos. Link is below. To soften that blow a bit, I'm actually giving away 4 Phoenix Lord models for free thanks to Dice Dioramas. We're giving away Baharoth, Lykhis, Marganrar, and Fugan, and all you have to do to win them is follow the link below, enter your email, and bam, that's it. No payments, no blood or cum. If you put in your other stuff like your Instagram, TikTok, or Discord, you get more entries, but no payment required. Entries close in 4 days, so make sure you do that after this video. Today we'll go over the lore of Lykhis and the Warp Spiders, detailing their origins, how their unique methodology of combat works, and what they've been up to in the lore. Now let's get into it. The concept of Phoenix Lords and Aspect Warriors is a new one for the Elder, being created after the Fall as a way to protect the now vulnerable Eldar race. Asaman, an Elder who was present on an Eldar world during the Fall and experienced it firsthand, managed to fight his way free of the horrors and founded the first Aspect Temple, training up various Eldar who in turn became the first Phoenix Lords. Lykhis was one of these students, which may seem strange due to a lack of mentioning in most of the Elder's lore, but there is a reason for that. See, Lykhis was a bit of a spastic with a poor sense of self-preservation. While some of the Phoenix Lords, like Marganrar and Fugan, were all about having big guns that would annihilate hordes of enemies, holding the line as they did so, others were more risky, like Janzar or Karandras, who preferred to slaughter their enemies face to face. Lykhis took this a step further, literally teleporting into the warp for extended periods of time, swimming through it before finding the perfect moment to jump out and scare her enemies. And by scare, I mean viciously slaughter with her gigantic god sword. Now the warp isn't a very safe or fun place to be. It's where demons, warp parasites, the chaos gods, and all sorts of nasty things reside. Swimming through it as a psychic entity like an Elder is a terrible idea. I'd honestly say these mini warp jumps that Lykhis does is more risky than removing your burqa in Afghanistan. The thing is, she doesn't even have a Gela field or shield to protect her. The only advantage she has is that the warp wasn't expecting her to appear, and her warp jump generator is able to stop the warp from instantly atomizing her and burning her soul. Because she spends so long in the warp in order to find the best moment to jump out and ambush her enemies, her will has to be bulletproof, as does her conviction. The warp is all about emotions. If you feel doubt and fear in the warp, it will get you killed. Lykhis feels neither. This is also why the warp spiders are seen as the bravest of all the aspect warriors. Even their shorter warp jumps are risky, and if they fail and die, their spirit stones are also consumed and lost, whereas other aspect warriors can have their spirit stones retrieved and placed into a nice Elder afterlife. Lykhis is an extremely hands-on Phoenix Lord. She doesn't rest and meditate or vanish for no reason for ages to create mystery. She is warp jumping all across the galaxy, constantly helping the Elder in their time of need. However, this also led to her downfall, as her extremely risky method of war resulted in her being killed in a really strange location, her armor being lost and buried for thousands of years. It was lost for so long that most Elder forgot she ever existed, with even the warp spiders being unsure who their Phoenix Lord actually was. Only ancient legends existed on some of the craft worlds she had saved that she had ever existed at all. This isn't entirely unheard of. Drastana is the Phoenix Lord of the Shining Spears who has been missing for thousands of years, and he too was known to be incredibly reckless in battle. So I can see how his corpse and armor would also probably be buried somewhere under a mound of corpses and rubble. In the current era, Lykhis' armor was discovered by a group of guardsmen. As they're investigating, they came under vicious assault by the warp spiders, who slaughtered them and recovered the armor, giving it to the greatest of their Exarchs, X-Archers, which is like an elite warp spider, who donned it and had their consciousness overwritten by Lykhis, reviving the Phoenix Lord of the Warp Spiders. This is why they're called Phoenix Lords. They literally revive from the ashes. Since her resurrection, Lykhis has hit the ground running, or should I say teleporting, as she has instantly returned to her old reckless ways, teleporting all over the galaxy to help the Elder in their times of need. She sports some pretty awesome war gear, including 4 armed Phoenix Lord armor, as well as 2 Death Spinners called the Brood Twain. For context, a Death Spinner is a gun that has compressed monofilament wire that when fired, acts like a razor net of thin wire that shreds enemies apart. It's the same technology that Harlequin Solitaires use, however the Solitaires will stab the wire into someone then unleash it, instantly shredding all of their insides, whilst the Warp Spider will fire the wire from a distance. Lykhis has both, with her monofilament injectors being called the Spider's Fangs. The chance of survival after getting stabbed with these is more or less 0. As lethal as this all sounds, her greatest weapon is her massive sword, called Vartakand fucking whatever, the Weave Render. The blade was literally forged by the Elder Gods and is so sharp it can cut rents open in reality, which I bet is pretty handy for someone that likes to jump into holes in reality. Obviously, with Lykhis being so new on the scene, we haven't gotten much juicy lore out of her yet, beyond the fact that she is highly active and fucking shit up. Is that the Elder's end times, the Ranadandra, is said to commence when all the Phoenix Lords return and unite in a final epic battle. The only Phoenix Lord not accounted for is Karandras, as well as Drastanta, but I'm not sure if we can count him. Or look, maybe we can. So we're getting pretty close to the Elder Doomsday. What about the Warp Spiders themselves? After all, Lykhis may have been missing, but they have been active the entire time. Well, like most Aspect Warriors, the Warp Spiders' abilities and weapons is often just a weaker version of their Phoenix Lords. Warp Spiders do make warp jumps, however they make notably shorter ones than Lychis's. For example, if a Warp Spider is charging an enemy gun line, they will teleport multiple times during the charge to avoid fire, and then eventually teleport behind the enemy when they're close enough. Lykhis would just teleport behind the enemy straight away. They also wield a large singular Death Spinner that will be fired at close range to obliterate their enemies after their final warp jump. The Warp Spider X-Archers are significantly better armed and more versatile. They have 2 smaller Death Spinners and also wield 2 blades, meaning they can appear, blast off 2 shredders, and then lay into the enemy with dual blades. Funnily enough, despite their role as being agile and bunny hopping around a battlefield, the Warp Spiders wear some of the bulkiest and heaviest of all Aspect Warrior armor, as their jump generators are so heavy, so when they teleport, they're actually pretty vulnerable as they can't move very fast. So it's often teleport, shoot enemy, then teleport, shoot enemy. It's a very, very risky strategy with a high payoff if it works out, which is also why most Elder are kind of scared of the Warp Spiders and think they are weird. Elder spend so long avoiding the warp and staying out of it, either via the Webway or Spirit Stones, so to willingly plunge into it is wild. Pretty much all the Aspect Warriors and Phoenix Lords are partially inspired by something. The Fire Dragons, for example, take inspiration from dragons to shoot fire. Makes sense. For the Warp Spiders, there are actually these small, highly aggressive psychic spiders that patrol the infinity circuit of each craft world. They act as micro-guardians to protect the infinity circuits from psychic plagues, sicknesses, or intruders. Part of their powers include the ability to teleport around the infinity circuit, thus giving inspiration for the warp jumping powers of the spiders. Now, GW is kind of clever when it comes to paint scheme options. They want you to be able to paint your warp spiders in more than just the classic red. Hence in lore, there are different aspect shrine variants for the warp spiders. These include the Deathly Web Shrine, which are just black-faced warp spiders. Then there is the Shade Gate Shrine, which uses a pretty hideous alternative scheme and are known to be huge dicks, preferring to fire their guns, then teleport to safety and watch their victims bleed to death. Then we have the Slicing Skein Shrine, who seem to have the same color scheme as the average warp spider and are known to ambush from multiple directions, which is what the average warp spider also does. So coolio, I guess. Then finally, there's the Voidwalker Shrine, who also have a pretty hideous scheme. Just paint your warp spiders the classic red, I reckon. The rest just look like ass. The warp spiders are a bit of an enigma in the lore. They are the least common, least populated of all the aspect shrines. Their models were old as shit, so they barely got attention in the lore, so we don't really have much to go off. However, with their new models, new Phoenix Lord, and the arrival of the Emperor's Children teasing an Elder vs Fulgrim showdown, maybe these guys will finally get some recognition. If you enjoyed the video and you want to support the channel, then pick up either the Space Elf Fire Lord, Avenger Lord, Hawk Lord, or Spider Lord for 15% off, or 25% off in a bundle, as these models are all being taken down in 72 hours and will never return in any capacity. Remember, we're also giving away some Phoenix Lords for free. If you want to enter and to win, just follow the link in the description and comments below. Hit the subscribe button and hit the real subscribe button for more spidery content. Join the Discord for more memes, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.